जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौर भक्त वृंद. So we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi-Lila, which is chapter number 4, verse number 34. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusham देहम आश्रितः भजते तादृशी क्रीडा यः श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत् अनुग्रहाय भक्तानाम् मानुषं देहमाश्रितः भजते तादृशी क्रीडा या श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत् अनुग्रहाय भक्तानां मानुषं देहमाश्रितः भजते तादृशी क्रीडा या श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत् अनुग्रहाय भक्तानां मानुषं देहमाश्रितः भजते तादृशी क्रीडा या श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत्. Please chant. अनुग्रहाय भक्तानां मानुषं देहमाश्रितः Others, please chant. Anugrahaya bhaktanam manusam dehamashrita ya shrutva tatparo bhavet anugrahaya bhaktanam श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत्. माताजी's अनुग्रहाय भक्तानां मानुषं देहमाश्रितं भजते तादृशी क्रीडा या श्रुत्वा तत्परो भवेत्. Please repeat after me. Anugrahaya, for showing favor. Bhaktanam, to the devotees. Manusham, human like. Deham, body. Ashritaha, accepting. Bhajate, he enjoys. Tadrishihi, such. Kridaha, pastimes. Yaha, which, Shrutva, having heard, Tat Paraha, fully intent upon him. Bhavet, one must become. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. Purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.36. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has innumerable expansions of his transcendental form who eternally exist in the spiritual world. This material world is only a perverted reflection of the spiritual world, where everything is manifested without inebriety. There everything is in its original existence, free from the domination of time. Time cannot deteriorate or interfere with the conditions in the spiritual world, where different manifestations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead are the recipients of the worship of different living entities in their constitutional spiritual positions. In the spiritual world, all existence is unadulterated goodness. The goodness found in the material world is contaminated by the modes of passion and ignorance. The saying that the human form of life is the best position for devotional service has its special significance, because only in this form can a living entity revive his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The human form is considered the highest state in the cycle of the species of life in the material world. If one takes advantage of this highest kind of material form, one can regain his position of devotional service to the Lord. Incarnations of the Supreme Personality of Godhead appear in all the species of life, and although this is inconceivable to the human brain, the paucity of the different types of bodies of the living entity, the Lord's pastimes are differentiated according to the appreciating capacity of the different types of bodies of the living entities. The Supreme Lord bestows the most merciful benediction upon human society when he appears in his human form. It is then that humanity gets the opportunity to engage in different kinds of eternal service to the Lord. Special natural appreciation of the descriptions of a particular pastime of Godhead indicates the constitutional position of a living entity. Adoration, servitorship, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love are the 5 primary relationships with Krishna. The highest perfectional stage of the conjugal relationship, enriched by many sentiments, gives the maximum relishable mellow to the devotee. The Lord appears in different incarnations as a fish, tortoise, and boar, as Parshuram, Lord Ram, Buddha, and so on, to reciprocate the different appreciations of living entities in different stages of evolution. The conjugal relationship of amorous love, called Parakiya Ras, is the unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. A class of so-called devotees, known as Sahajiyas, try to imitate the Lord's pastimes, although they have no understanding of the amorous love in his expansions of pleasure potency. Their superficial imitation can create havoc on the path of advancement of one's spiritual relationship with the Lord. Material sexual indulgence can never be equated with spiritual love, which is in unadulterated goodness. The activities of the Sahajiyas simply lower one deeper into the material contamination of the senses and mind. Krishna's transcendental pastimes display eternal servitorship to Adhokshaja, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond all conception through material senses. Materialistic conditioned souls do not understand the transcendental exchanges of love, but they like to indulge in sense gratification in the name of devotional service. The activities of the Supreme Lord can never be understood by irresponsible persons who think the pastimes of Radha and Krishna to be ordinary affairs. The Rasa dance is arranged by Krishna's internal potency, Yogamaya, and it is beyond the grasp of materially affected person. Trying to throw mud into transcendence with their perversity, the Sahajiyas misinterpret the sayings Tat Paratvena Nirmalam and Tat Paro Bhavet. By misinterpreting Tadrishi Kridaha, they want to indulge in sex while pretending to imitate Lord Krishna. But one must actually understand the imports of the words through the intelligence of the authorized Goswamis. Srila Narottam Das Thakur in his prayers to the Goswamis has explained his inability to understand such spiritual affairs. Rupa Raghunath Pade Haibe Akuti Kabe Hama Bhujaba Sejugala Priti. When I shall be eager to understand the literature given by the Goswamis, then I shall be able to understand the transcendental love affairs of Radha and Krishna. In other words, unless one is trained under the disciplic succession of the Goswamis, one cannot understand Radha and Krishna. The conditioned souls are naturally averse to understanding the spiritual existence of the Lord, and if they try to know the transcendental nature of the Lord's pastimes, while they remain absorbed in materialism, they are sure to blunder like the Sahajiyas. It's a long purport. Please repeat the translation after me. Krishna manifests his eternal human-like form and performs his pastimes to show mercy to the devotees. Having heard such pastimes, one should engage in service to him. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine He Krishna Karuda Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, the postgraduate study of the subject matter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Prabhupada chose Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita specifically over Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat and Sri Chaitanya Mangal because he understood that there was a big scope of commenting and philosophical explanation that Prabhupada could give in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Charita Amrita means the nectarian character of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We see also that the Srimad Bhagavatam introduction, you open the Srimad Bhagavatam, the introduction of the Srimad Bhagavatam is the life of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in gist, in a nutshell, Prabhupada is given. Why is it so? Is because Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita or Lord Chaitanya's life is actually the Srimad Bhagavatam in practice. In practice. Now in Adi-Lila, especially in this chapter, just to give you a short overview, this chapter describes about the confidential reasons for the Lord's appearance. Why does Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come? Many of us who came from a background wherein we were not acquainted with spiritual life from childhood, especially the procedure given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we were not acquainted. So when we first came in touch with the Hare Krishna movement, then the first thing that we are explained is about the mercy and the magnanimous nature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate. Mahavadanyaya, what a great magnanimous personality. Why? Because Mahaprabhu is what? He is taking love of God and he is going to every person and giving. Please take. Please take Krishna Prema. Please take. Because Krishna, he demands full and absolute surrender. Krishna says, first surrender unto me, then I will free you from all sinful reaction. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is inviting everyone. With raised arms, he is inviting everyone, please come, chant Hare Krishna, free of offenses, and you get Krishna Prema. Come and take it. So Mahaprabhu is indeed the most merciful and magnanimous incarnation. So why does he come? In this chapter, it is described about the confidential nature of Mahaprabhu's appearance. So why is it mentioned as confidential? Confidential is because it's secret. Mahaprabhu is also known as Gupta Avatar, or he is the Gupta incarnation, hidden incarnation. But there is something that is hidden and confidential even in his incarnation. So what are those reasons? So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he mentions that the first purpose was to relish the position of Srimati Radharani. Krishna wanted to relish the devotee's position who is the prime reciprocator of transcendental love. This is the language that Prabhupada uses. Prime reciprocator of transcendental love. So this bhakti rasa, in order to relish, then Krishna wanted to relish. So how is he going to relish? He was going to relish when he takes the position of the one who is relishing the most. So who is it who is relishing bhakti the most? And that is Srimati Radharani. And therefore, he comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The second reason for his appearance was to understand the nature of transcendental mellow of himself. Krishna heard that the rasa that his devotees are getting in loving him is something very unique, very special. Krishna is another name for him is Rasaraj. He is the transcendent, he is the enjoyer of all rasas. He is the king of all enjoyment. So he has all these rasas. So now what Krishna wants to do is that this rasa that his devotees are getting in tasting his devotional service, that sweetness in Krishna's service, his name, his pastimes are not different from him. Abhinnatvam nama namino. So then this taste which is there in relishing the mellows that the devotees are getting, so Krishna wanted to relish that. So he comes as a devotee. He comes, this is internal reason. He wants to relish. And the third reason is that Krishna thought that Srimati Radharani, the bliss that she is enjoying is more than the bliss that he is getting in being enjoyed. Krishna is the enjoyer, he is the supreme enjoyer. But the bliss that he is getting in enjoying all the relationships with his devotees, that is smaller or lesser as compared to the bliss that is enjoyed by his devotees, Srimati Radharani. So he said that my devotees are enjoying more than me in performing my devotional service. Let me taste that. So this taste is foreign to Krishna. He doesn't know. How does he know? Bhagavan kya jane? Ki unki bhakti mein kitna ras hai. How does he know? He doesn't know. So to taste that, he comes as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So in the beginning of this chapter, these three confidential reasons are mentioned. Then there are secondary reasons which have already been mentioned in the previous chapter. And what are those reasons? That is to preach the Yuga Dharma. Because every yuga has a Yuga avatar who preaches the Yuga Dharma for the benefit of everyone. And what is the Yuga Dharma for Kali Yuga? Yagane Sankirtana Praya Ijanti Hi Sumedasa. This is what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes to preach. The chanting of the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Mahaprabhu came to give this chanting of the holy names. He comes to establish this Yuga Dharma. Of course, he also comes, one of the reasons is because of the call of Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya advented first. And he saw the situation that was going on in this world. He saw that how people are engrossed deeply in materialism. And he felt that it is not possible to create that cultural and spiritual revolution that is required in society alone. And therefore, on the banks of the Ganges, he took his Shaligram Shila, offered Ganges water and Tulsi leaves, and he cried out to the Lord, "Oh my dear Lord, you must personally come. You must personally advent here. Only then there is some hope. Otherwise, me in my form as Vishnu, as Mahavishnu, I will take up my Sudarshan and finish off everyone, because that is only what is remaining now." So Advaita Acharya, he is an expansion of the Supreme Lord. But he is the Lord who calls out the Lord. So he is the one who called out Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the Mahaprakash Lila, when Mahaprabhu is calling out everyone one after the other, he calls out Advaita Acharya and he says, "Nada, you called me and so I came. You forgot? You called me and so I came." He reminds him. Actually, when Mahaprabhu, little Nima, used to go to Advaita Acharya's house, which is next door. If you've come to Mayapur, you see, right next door is Advaita Bhavan from Yogapit. So Mahaprabhu used to go very regularly and frequently to Advaita Acharya's house. SriSriRadhaRasbihariTemple ki jai, Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Shri Gaur Nitai ki jai. His mother, Sachi Mata, used to send him to go and call his elder brother, Vishwarup. Vishwarup used to go and attend Bhagavatam class in Advaita Acharya's house. Sometimes that Bhagavatam class used to go long. In our case, as soon as it is 9 o'clock, we are waiting. When the class ends, so that go and take prasadam. But devotees have so much taste that they want to keep hearing incessantly. So Vishwarup, he used to listen like this to Advaita Acharya's Bhagavatam classes. And Sachi Mata, like any other mother, used to call her teenage son. Used to be worried, "Hey, what's he doing so long? Call him here, call him back home." So she used to send Nimai. And Nimai used to go to Advaita Acharya's house. Small Nimai used to go to Advaita Acharya's house. Advaita Acharya used to ask him, "Why have you come?" And Nimai used to reply, "You called, so I came." Advaita Acharya that time did not understand. What is he referring to? But Mahaprabhu, Nimai, was referring to the fact that because Advaita Acharya called him, so he came. So Advaita Acharya called the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to this world. All these reasons, what is the source? Krishnadas Kaviraj, he mentions that the source of this is Swarup Damodar's diary. Swarup Damodar was Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's intimate and confidential servant. He kept a diary. Actually, we have a good amount of information of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, Sri Chaitanya Mangal, Sri Chaitanya Chandrodaya Nataka, Murari Gupta's diary, Murari Gupta Kadacha also is there. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Chandramrita also, Prabodhanand Saraswati. So in this way, there is all this deep information that we have about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personality and life. And certainly, as Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we should try to read, to understand and to contemplate on the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gaurangera madhur lila jar karne praveshila hridayo nirmala bhelotar hridaya nirmala bhelotar. The moment the sweet pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu enter the ear, then the stone-like heart, it melts. Srila Prabhupada gives a class, he says, the heart is steel-framed heart. Because of our constant association with materialism and constant contemplation about sense gratification, our heart has become steel-framed. There is no scope of receiving and offering love. But when we hear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes, even a stone-framed heart also melts. So Krishnadas Kaviraj, in this chapter, he mentions that he is giving these confidential reasons for Mahaprabhu's appearance. Because the scriptures mention why Krishna comes. Swayam Bhagavanera karma nahe bhara harana sthiti karta Vishnu karena jagad palana. So this jagad palan, sthiti karta Vishnu, it is the job of Vishnu, that is not the job of the Supreme Personality, Lord Krishna. It is very interesting that in this chapter, the reasons for Lord Krishna's advent are also mentioned. Reasons for Mahaprabhu's advent are mentioned. That is certainly the subject matter of Adi-Lila. But even there is a description of even why Lord Krishna advents. Swayam Bhagavan, Brajendra Nandan Sham Sundar, the Golok Bihari Krishna, why he advents. That also is given. So Krishna's Kaviraj, he mentions that this Jagat Palan, this Sthiti Karta Vishnu, it is Vishnu's job. It is not Krishna's job. So how come in Dwapar Yuga Lord Krishna himself comes? Kintu Krishne Raye Haya Avatara Kala Bhara Harana Kala Tate Haila Mishala. But the time to lift the burden of the world mixed with the time for Lord Krishna's incarnation. See, Swayam Bhagavan, Shri Krishna, who is Avatari, who is the source of all incarnations, he comes once in one day of Brahma. He comes once in one day. Now why does he come? He comes to attract the living entities back. This Krishna is Rasaraj. He only wants to enjoy. He's Rasa Bihari. He is only enjoying. He doesn't have any duties to perform. If God has work, then what kind of God is he? We have to work in this material world because we want to sustain. Just like, even from the material perspective, we can understand that the owner of a company, he doesn't need to work very hard. Their job timings are for employees, 9 to 5. They have to come. Boss, he can walk in any time because it's his own company. Nobody can ask him because he's the owner. Likewise, in this material world, Lord Krishna is the owner. So he doesn't need to come. He comes because he wants to. He wants to attract the living entities back to him. So this is why Lord Krishna advents. Now what happened? His time of coming, it mixed along with the time to lift the burden of the world. Yuga Avatar, we know from Bhagavad-gita, Yada yada dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Time comes whenever there is a rise in irreligion, whenever there is a decline in religious activity, dharma samsthapanartha. So Krishna comes to re-establish dharma. So the time had come to re-establish dharma, but it also matched with original Lord Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, he is coming, matched, same time. Because Prabhupada explains that the principal deity who makes adjustments when there is improper administration. All of us are under some kind of administration in this world. If you are in the temple, you are under temple management. If you are in a company, you are under some company management. If you are self-employed, if you are living at home, you have to have some kind of management and administration. Administration means rules. Rules. They say rules are meant for fools. Nobody likes rules. Nobody likes. But still they are required. Otherwise, how will there be decorum in the society? Rules are needed. So when you will always find some miscreants who will come and break rules. So when they break rules, there has to be some repercussion, some consequence, some punishment to re-establish law and order. Something has to be done when rules are broken. Just like, nowadays, it is very common to discuss about the terrorist attack that happened a couple of weeks ago. They broke the peace, law and order of the society of India, and therefore the Indian government retaliated very strongly. That is their duty also to protect. It's the administration's duty to make sure. There was a lapse in security, so then now they took some measures. But duty, protection is important. Now what happens is when there is a lapse in administration, so then the management has to make sure that management responsibility is Lord Vishnu's responsibility. He makes sure. So whenever some demons come and whenever they break law and order, he comes to kill them and finish them off. That's how it works. It's not Krishna's role. He doesn't do it. Krishna's job is not this. His job is only to attract fallen souls by performing different leelas in the primary rasas. It's very interesting. In third chapter, Chaitanya Charitamrita, we know 5 primary rasas are there. In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami mentions about 5 rasas, which are Madhurya Ras, then Vatsalya Ras, Sakhya Ras, and Dasya Ras, and there is Shanti Ras. Interestingly, in the third chapter, Krishnadas Kaviraj doesn't mention about Shanti Ras at all. He says only these 4. When it comes to Krishna, only 4. What he's trying to say is that these 4 are active. Shantaras is not active. So therefore he doesn't mention it. He says these 4. So Krishna comes for this. Dasyaras is the beginning, and mostly he is enjoying in these three upper 3 rasas, Madhurya Ras and Vatsalya Ras and Sakhya Ras. This is what he is enjoying with. So now what happens that when this situation happened, that the time of Krishna's incarnation, Krishna's advent, coincided with the administrative incarnation also, to put proper administrative measures. So what happened? All these incarnations all came into Krishna and they all came together. So that is why even the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Aniruddha, Pradyuman, so they all, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyuman, Aniruddha, they all come along with Krishna. All the Vishnus come. Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, all of them come along with Krishna. Avatar Tattva is one of the Tattvas, themes. Different kinds of incarnations. Guna avatars, who are in charge and responsible for each of the gunas, like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu. Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Likewise, there is Leela avatars, like Lord Ram, Narsingha, Varaha, Vamana. They come, they perform some pastime. Attracts everyone. Lord Varahadev comes, he's fighting. He and Hiranyaksha are having fight. And Devatas are cheering. Just like a boxing match happens and people are cheering. Like that, the cheering is going on. It's fun. It's a pastime. Lord Narsingha comes and he performs Hiranyakashipu's irreversible operation. In this way, we see that Lord comes and he's performing these Leela avatars. Manvantara avatars are also there. They have specific duties also to perform. And then there are Yuga avatars who come every Yuga. And they perform their occupation, they perform their duty and their role, which is to establish the Yuga Dharma. Like for example, this is also from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya. Shukla Rakta Krishna Pita Krame Chari Varna Dhari Krishna Karena Yuga Dharma. In the 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar and Kali, the Lord incarnates in 4 colors. Satyuga, he is white. And Treta is red. In Dwapar is black. And in Kali Yuga is yellow. Satyuge Dharma Dhyana Karaya Shukla Murti Karmadake Varadila Yeno Kripa Kori. As white incarnation, the Lord taught religion and meditation. White incarnation. He offered his benediction to Kardama Muni. So who is this white incarnation? It's Lord Kapila. White incarnation. Krishna Dhyana Kare Loka Jnana Adhikari Tretara Dharma Yagna Karaya Rakta Varna Dhari. In Satyuga, people were advanced. So they could meditate upon Krishna very easily. So the occupational duty in Treta of people was meditation. In Treta Yuga, the duty was to perform great sacrifices. This was done by the reddish incarnation. So who was this reddish incarnation? His name was Srinigarbha, the son of Sutapa and Srini. He was glorified by the names Yagya, Vrikshapi, Jayanta and Urugai. His name was Vrikshapi, means that if the living entities simply remember the Lord, he bestows benedictions upon them. His name is Jayanta because he is always victorious. Dwapare Bhagavan Shyama Pitavasa Nija Yudhaya Shri Vatsabhir Ankescha Lakshane Rupa Lakshitai. In Dwapar Yuga, he comes in a blackish hue, dressed in yellow, holds his own weapons, and he is decorated with Kaustuba Mani, and marked with Srivatsa. That is how his symptoms are described. Krishna padarchana haya dvapirera dharma Krishna varane karaya loke Krishna archana karma. Dwapar Yuga, the Yuga Dharma was to worship the lotus feet of Krishna. So Lord Krishna himself appeared and he personally induced people to worship him. Dwapar Yuga. Pitavarna dhari tabe kaila pravartana prema bhakti dila loke yana bhakta gana. And in Kali Yuga, the Lord assumes a golden color. He is accompanied by his devotees and introduces Harinam Sankirtan. So that is in Kali Yuga. So then the question is, when Lord Krishna came, he killed many demons. Who killed? Krishna doesn't kill demons. He doesn't do it. The Supreme Personality of Godhead who eternally resides in Golok Vrindavan Dham, he doesn't kill demons. Who does it? It is Lord Vishnu. As we mentioned, that all the incarnations come along with Krishna. So then the Vishnu who is present within the Krishna, he does the killing. Killing of all the demons. Now, it's very interesting. Krishnadas Kaviraj, he is talking about what Lord Krishna is thinking. So now this is Krishna thinking. He is talking to himself. Lord is saying, all this universe that is filled with the conception of my majesty, my greatness, but love is weakened by that majesty. That doesn't satisfy me. He says, in whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. If one cherishes pure loving devotion unto me, thinking me as his son, or his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. So Krishna says, I love it when I am dominated. Mata mora putra bhave karena bandhana atihina jnane kare lalana palana. Mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. In Damodar Lila, we find when Ma Yashoda was feeding Krishna her breast milk, at that time, then the milk that was kept at the stove, which Ma Yashoda had chosen from the best of cows, Padmagandha cows, they give milk which has nice aroma. So that milk she had kept because she knew that her milk is not going to be sufficient for Krishna. So that when it started boiling, and when it started boiling, coming out, Ma Yashoda immediately went, thinking like this, Krishna is going to feel hungry. Krishna's name is Atmaram. How can Atmaram be hungry? He is self-sufficient. He doesn't need anything. Hunger, thirst, these are for living entity conditioned souls. But Ma Yashoda, she thinks he is helpless. He cannot do anything. And Krishna likes this. He loves this because the reciprocation that the devotees, the service that they do for him with love, thinking he is an ordinary person, he is fully dependent on them. That is done out of so much of pure love, completely devoid of any sense of awe and reverence. This is what Krishna loves. Sakha Shuddha Sakhya Kore Skandhe Arohana Tumi Kon Bada Loka Tumi Ama Sama. My friends climb on my shoulders in pure friendship, saying, what kind of big man are you? You and I are equal. So for Krishna, this is what he loves. They tease him, his friends tease him, they make fun of him, they call him names also. Just like everybody has gone through good friendships in their childhood years, in their teenage years, and we get a little bit of that Sakhyaras. Unfortunately, it doesn't really last long, like all relationships in this world. But Krishna loves that kind of Sakhyaras, wherein his friends don't consider him to be significant at all. They completely brush aside. One day Krishna told his friends that, I have lifted Govardhan hill. And Madhu Mangal said, nothing. I was chanting mantras and by my Shakti, Govardhan was flying on its own. It was floating on its own. You just stood there and you acted as if you are holding it. And everybody is having a good laugh. So this is how Krishna and his friends they have this kind of talks and discussions. Priyayadi mana kori karaye bhart sana vedastuti hoite hare shemora mana. He says, if my beloved consort approaches me in a sulky mood, that steals my mind from the reverent hymns of the Vedas. Prabhupada explains that for Krishna, the gopis rebuking him. If you hear Krishna's pastimes with Srimati Radha and the gopis, so many times they call Krishna different varieties of bad words. They call him debauchee, cheater, they call him like this. It's out of love, it's out of teasing. But he likes that. Imagine, somebody calls us something, we immediately become angry. For Krishna, he is called names by his loving devotees, the gopis. And he loves that more than the hymns chanted in the Vedas. Vedic sacrificial ceremonies, they chant Purusha Sukta. Prabhupada mentions, more than Purusha Sukta, he likes being rebuked by the gopis. Prabhupada, he explains this by the example of Gopal Bhan. Prabhupada used to give this example of Gopal Bhan regularly. Gopal Bhan was a jester. He was a court clown. And whenever the king wanted to laugh, he used to call him. He was like, we used to hear Akbar Birbal stories. So something like that, something like Birbal kind of thing. Gopal Bhan, this is Bengali tradition. Gopal Bhan. So one time, the king asked Gopal Bhan, Gopal, what is the difference between you and a jackass? What is the difference between you and a jackass? So Gopal, what he did, guessing the distance between himself and the king, Gopal said, sir, the difference between me and a jackass is 3 feet. You understood the joke? The jackass is the king. And the king is laughing like anything. The king is laughing, even though the joke is on him. So Prabhupada explains that just like the king, because Gopal Bhan is very dear to him, so Gopal is making joke at the expense of the king likes it, he enjoys. In the same way, Krishna is enjoying to somebody very dear. Prabhupada also gives an example that of a British Prime Minister who had kept guests waiting outside the office because he was playing horsey with his grandson. Horsey? He makes the child sit on the back and then he's going on all fours, crawling on all fours like a horse. So outside important people are sitting. They're waiting. Prime Minister is very busy. Prime Minister inside is playing horsey with his son. Because that is where he's enjoying. So God in His majesty is God at work. But Krishna is God at home. So this is what Braj Bhakti, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to establish and teach us. And why do the devotees love Krishna like this? This is what he wants. So to give Krishna pleasure, the devotees do whatever he wants. So Krishna wants to be bullied by them. He wants to be teased by them. He wants to be controlled by them. So they do that. Because that gives Krishna pleasure. And in turn, they get pleasure. So this is how the mentality and this is how the mindset of the devotees in Golok Vrindavan is. In spiritual world. This is higher than Vaikuntha. In third canto also there is description of Vaikuntha planets. In Vaikuntha, we find that the devotees there is no sexual attraction between male and female. They don't even, if the nice breeze comes, they don't get distracted from their work of chanting constantly the glories of the Lord. In Vaikuntha, the atmosphere is such that if the bee is humming, this is how we hear the bee humming. But the bee is actually chanting the glories of the Lord. Even great cuckoos, swans, and birds who have very nice, sweet voices, they also keep silent just to hear the glories of the Lord. Wish-fulfilling desire trees who give whatever one desires immediately. This is present in Vaikuntha. What glory and opulence. But still the glories of Golok Vrindavan are so great that even Vaikuntha is nothing as compared to that. If we just compare Vaikuntha to this Kuntha, Kuntha means misery, anxiety. Without anxiety is Vaikuntha. That's the spiritual world. And this is actually the great gift of Srila Prabhupada, that he introduces us to this spiritual world, which almost everybody in this world has no conception or idea of. Everything in the spiritual world is chinmay, is animate. Like the rice. Ma Yashoda, when she wants to cook rice. Now if we are cooking rice, we have to make sure it doesn't get burnt. But Ma Yashoda, she is doing something outside the house, outside the kitchen. She just has to say, rice, are you cooked? And rice will reply, yes, I am cooked. This is how it is in the spiritual world. Everything is animate. It is ironical that in the spiritual world, in Golok Vrindavan, that God doesn't want to be God. And in this material world here, everyone wants to be God. It is ironical that everyone except God wants to be God. We all here, we are competing with each other. Who is the controller? Who is the enjoyer? All the time. This is only going on. Fear and insecurity are because we are not in control. We feel what will happen ahead, we don't know. So then we have fear. And based on fear, what don't people do? As we become more and more Krishna conscious, more and more faith develops. As more and more Shraddha or faith develops, then fear goes away. Yad bhibeti swayam bhayam. Krishna is feared by fear personified. And that is real stress management. That is real anxiety management. As we advance in spiritual life, then what happens? Our fear gets diminished. No fear, because it's full of love. Love for Krishna, faith, whatever the Lord wants. Maro bhi rakho bhi jo ichha tohara. Whatever you want, my dear Lord. And what are devotees doing? They're absorbed in hearing and chanting the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, and they're engaged in serving Vaishnavas. What taste is there in that? Actually, in ISKCON, we should ask ourselves. Sometimes devotees, they come into this mentality, they say, what has the institution done for me? I have done so much service. What did I get? The answer is this. If you are getting a taste for serving Vaishnavas, if we are getting a taste for hearing Krishna Katha, if you are getting a taste for chanting the holy name, if you are getting a taste for devotional activities, oh, this is the rarest treasure that we can get. And that is our real good fortune. This is how we should evaluate ourselves and not allow the mind to start thinking and becoming selfish and self-centered. So then, again, Krishnadas Kaviraj, coming back, he's saying what Krishna is thinking. Taking these pure devotees with me, I shall descend and sport in various wonderful ways, unknown even in Vaikuntha. I will broadcast such pastimes by which even I am amazed. I will also be amazed. And Ras-Lila is just so amazing. The gopis come leaving everything just by the sound of Krishna's flute. Srila Rupa Goswami, he says that if you don't, he gives a disclaimer. He gives a word of caution. Rupa Goswami says, don't go to Vamshivat and take darshan of Govinda. Don't do that. If you see this Krishna in a threefold bending form, if you see him, your entire material life will be finished. Don't go. He says like this. Because that's what the gopis did. They didn't care about anything and they just left to go to him. And then out of obligation for their selfless sacrifice of leaving behind all their duties and responsibilities, all their services, out of that and their positions that they left, Krishna reciprocates with the gopis by dancing with them in the dead of the night. And that is Ras-Lila. The Ras-Lila is the greatest reciprocation of transcendental love that exists between the Jivas and the Supreme Lord. And Mahaprabhu is actually teaching us how to love in that kind of spirit. How great is this? And how unqualified we are. Because Prabhupada in this purport, he says that till the time we have materialistic mindset, till the time we have a mentality wherein I want to enjoy, how we can be qualified to understand Ras-Lila? So Krishna comes in this world to perform Ras Lila to attract everyone back to him. Mahaprabhu comes to teach everyone how to do Braj Bhakti in the line of the gopis. But see how our position is, that the question we must ask is, are we qualified or not? And what are we doing to develop the qualification? One time, one couple in London who had invited Srila Prabhupada to his home, they said, Swamiji, we want to hear Ras Lila from you. So Srila Prabhupada, he replied, you are not qualified. So they said, no, Swamiji, we want to hear Ras Lila from you. Srila Prabhupada replied, you are not qualified. Then they again pushed it, but Swamiji, we think we are qualified. We want to hear Ras Lila from you. So Prabhupada said, you may be qualified, but I am not qualified. So this is such a great, the Ras Lila, the divine pastimes of Madhurya Ras that the Lord tastes with his devotees. That is what Mahaprabhu came to give. But the question is whether are we moving towards getting the qualification or not. Because as Srila Prabhupada replies, mentions in the purport, till the time the mind is covered with so much of materialism, and materialism is essentially these anarthas, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Maya, Matsarya. We want to enjoy. So when somebody is engrossed in materialism, is acting on the anarthas, then what will happen? He will become Sahajya. So Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, that is called Sahajaism, wherein one imitates the activities of Krishna. And in bygone times, during the times of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he did such a great work by identifying all the Apasampradayas who were engaging in such Sahajayic activities, which are not bona fide at all. He listed them at a time wherein, in Bengal especially, people could not make out what is right, what is wrong. Gaudiya Vaishnavism had become so contaminated. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, he clarified, he objectified and gave definitions of what is pure devotional service and what are Apasampradayas. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so how do we advance in spiritual life? Srila Prabhupada explains, it is by taking the shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the third canto, in the section of Kumaras visiting Vaikuntha, there also Srila Prabhupada in the long purport he writes that it is possible by chanting Hare Krishna all the time without offenses and by taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that we can advance in spiritual life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful and magnanimous personality. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Doya Kori Swaparshada Sviya Dhama Sahavatari. He comes, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he comes out of compassion for all the suffering souls, along with all his associates, Sahavatari, Swaparshadad, he comes along with all of them. To do what? Atyanta durlabha prema kori bare dana sikhaya sharanagati bhakatera pran. He comes to teach us Sharanagati. This is the first step, Sharanagati, taking shelter of the Supreme Lord, which is actually very dear to Vaishnavas. So what are these 6 steps of Sharanagati? Dainya Atma Nivedana Goptritve Varana Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palana Bhakti Anukula Matra Karyera Svikara Bhakti Pratikula Bhava Varjanangikara. 6 steps, Sharanagati. First, we accept everything that is favorable. Bhakti Anukula, whatever is Anukul for advancing in devotion, we accept. Now this itself is such a contemplation. First we should become conscious, then we become Krishna conscious. So first becoming conscious means that becoming conscious of our daily activities. whether they are in goodness or not, whether they are anukul towards developing and cultivating bhakti or not. And then the subtle ones also. So many times we feel envy towards other Vaishnavas we feel. Is this anukul? If not, they should be removed. Then bhakti pratikula bhava varjena angikar. Just give up. Whatever is pratikul, give up. Pratikul. Humility, dainya. Keeping ourselves always humble. Tolerating. Atma nivedana, self-surrendering. Surrendering to Krishna. We come to Guru Puja every day. How many times do we surrender to Srila Prabhupada? How many times do we offer prayers to Srila Prabhupada saying, Dear Srila Prabhupada, I am yours? How many times do we do that? Are we conscious or are we doing mechanical? So this is what daily activities of bhakti we can understand that there is so much scope for improvement. Because we are not into the program. Mind is somewhere else. Shadanga Sharanagati Hoibe Jahara Tahara Prarthana Sune Shri Nanda Kumara Avashya Rakshibe Krishna Vishwasa Palan. Yes, thinking that Krishna is the maintainer, he is the protector, he is the one who maintains, he is the one who protects. This is all Sharanagati. And then when somebody is practicing the Sharanagati, then the Supreme Lord, Shri Nanda Kumar, he hears such prarthana. Tahara prarthana shune Nanda Kumar. He hears, he listens to these prayers. Rupa sanatana pade dante trina kori bhakti vinoda pade duhun pada dhori. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur is praying to the lotus feet of Rupa and Sanatan. With Dante Trina Dhori, he's taking a straw in his mouth and praying with a lot of humility. What is he saying? Kandiya kandiya bole amito adhama shikhaye sharanagati korohe utama. He says, I am adham, I am the most fallen. Please teach me sharanagati. He's praying to Rup and Sanatan. Srila Prabhupada in this purport also in the end he says, Rupa Raghunath pade hoibe akuti kabe have pujaba se jugala priti. When that day will come. So praying in the footsteps of the Acharyas, following in the footsteps of the Acharyas, praying to their lotus feet, when that day will come. So this is the mood of the devotee. And taking shelter in this way of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, performing the Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan by regulated japa on a daily basis. Srila Prabhupada says 16 rounds on beads and unlimited rounds off beads. So by performing Nam Sankirtan, going out, which is so crucial, our society needs that. We need to go out more and more. One senior Vaishnava, he was saying, we don't need Kirtan retreats, we need Sankirtan attacks. Sometimes we have, this Kirtan retreat, meaning we have Kirtan melas, wherein devotees come together and chant. Oh, that's very nice, amazing. He mentioned that what we need is Sankirtan attacks, going out and doing Harinam more and more. That's what is required. And in this way, we can pray and hope sincerely for the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who has come, Gaudadaye Pushpavanto Chitrau Tanno Tamonudavo. He has come here to dissipate the darkness of ignorance which is there in Kali. And this we can by taking shelter of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu on a daily basis and chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. So any questions or comments on this? So we shall end by making a prayer to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please repeat the pranam mantra after me. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvishe Namaha. In this way we should offer our most respectful humble obeisances unto Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most merciful and magnanimous incarnation of this age, who is giving out Krishna Prem to everyone without any consideration. So let us pray to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and call out for his mercy. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.